Wow, I look very, very rough. Can you tell that I've been at work absolutely loads and that I'm doing night shifts and that I'm tired and that I'm really busy and that I'm behind on everything? Just, it's great. It's absolutely great. Hello and welcome to Bookmas Day 11. So it's the penultimate day of Bookmas, and today I'm going to be talking about the 11 books that I read this year that I don't think have enough hype surrounding them. Shall we just jump right into it? So most of these books I either don't have a physical copy of, they're just on my phone, or they're in my Bookmas tree, so I'll just like put a picture here. So the first book that I think just deserves more hype is Letters to Eloise by Emily Williams. I think this book needs to be talked about so much because it is just, oh. If you watched my last Bookmas video, you'll know that Letters to Eloise tore my heart out, ripped it to shreds and threw it on the ground, and it was stomped on because it was just really raw and emotional, and it was just this incredible journey that I will never forget because it was just a really memorable storyline and it got really emotional at the end. I see a few people talk about it on Twitter, but I haven't actually seen anyone talk about it in the book blogging community or the booktube community. So I definitely feel like Letters to Eloise needs the hype because it's such an amazing book. The second book is Betwixters by Laura C. Cantu, and I've also spoken about this book in previous Bookmas videos. And that is because it is this amazing middle grade fantasy novel that is about fairies and flitting between different worlds. It has really good sociological issues underneath, such as bullying and feminism, standing up for oneself, confidence issues, family issues, and I just think all of those things put in a middle grade fantasy novel is amazing. And just for it to be about fairies just is the cherry on top of the cake because it is absolutely amazing. The next book is one that I received from Unbound Publishing back in, it was last year, I think it was about November last year, but it came out in March this year. And that is The Book of Bearer by Susie Wilde. This is a high fantasy about kind of Vikings, and there's this really strong female protagonist who goes to avenge her family and her friends, and there's blood, there's war, there's murder, there's just absolutely everything that you'd want in a Viking high fantasy novel. The cover is amazing, the writing is beautiful, and it is very emotional but very heartwarming at the same time. And I have not seen anyone talk about this book, and I'm really surprised as to why, because it is just really good. And I think this is Susie Wilde's debut novel as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. If it is her first novel, then it is really good, and I can't wait to read more books that Susie Wilde writes. I also haven't seen a lot of hype about Sleeping Giants and Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel, which is book 1 and 2 in the Themis Files trilogy. There is the third and final book coming out next year, which is always exciting. But I mean, I've seen a few booktubers talk about this book, but not as many as I thought they would, because it's a very cool sci-fi novel that's told through different formats, and it concentrates on like aliens and giant hands and alien body parts scattered across the world and government secrets. I really don't understand why more people aren't talking about this book, because it has beautiful covers, it's beautiful writing, it's really interesting, told through like different files, recordings, interviews, and it's a really interesting storyline as well. So I think this series definitely deserves more hype. The fifth book is one that I actually requested from NetGalley at the beginning of the year, and that is Descendants by Ray Else. And I read this book in a day, and it was so good because it's about magic and kind of using the elements to fight, and there's good, there's evil, there's romance. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time reading this book because I was like, oh my life, what's gonna happen next? And it was just crazy. I haven't heard one single person talk about this book. I've reviewed it on my blog, I'm talking about it now, and I just feel like it's one of those books that needs more attention in the YA community because it's going to be a series. And I feel like this is going to be a really successful series if it just has the publicity, and I haven't seen any publicity for it. So I definitely recommend that people go out and buy this book. It's Elemental Magic and it's just brilliant. The next book is one that had a little bit of hype when the cover and the arc was released, but when the actual book was released I didn't really hear anything about it, and that is The Blazing Star by Imani Joshi. And this is about two sisters and they get time travelled way back into ancient Egypt, and it turns out that they are connected to this ancient world in a way, and it's about them kind of figuring out their identity and the sisterly relationships between the two of them, power, there's gods, there's just murder, and it's just really good, and it's got such great diversity in the book as well. This is also going to be a trilogy, I think, and I am really excited to read the next book because I vaguely remember the fact that The Blazing Star ended on a cliffhanger, so I really need to find out what happens, and I can't wait to read the next one. Then we have a book that I actually can show you, and that is Paper Butterflies by Lisa Heathfield. This book just was so emotional and just an unforgettable journey. It's about abuse, friendship, romance, trying to come to terms with yourself, and it was so poignant and brilliant, and just I absolutely loved it. I always remember the fact that I had to take the day off university because I was really ill, and I decided to read this book and it just completely gripped me from start to finish. I read it in a couple of hours and it was absolutely amazing, and I continue to watch YouTube videos and I'm like, well, why aren't people talking about this book? Like, it is so brilliant, and I can't understand why more people aren't talking about it. Then we have City of Saints and Thieves by Natalie C. Anderson. I was actually very surprised about this book because I thought it was just going to be another YA novel with a strong female character that, you know, just kind of the usual tropes that you find, and I was really surprised because it turns out that she is like this awesome kind of spy person, and she can break into people's houses really easily, and just it's absolutely brilliant, and she's this incredible thief. And it's about this girl called Tina, and her mother died, and she has this mission to go and steal from Mr. Greyhill, who she suspects killed her mother, and there's just loads of plot twists, and the last 100 pages were absolutely crazy because it was so fast paced and brilliantly written, and it had you on the edge of your seat the entire time, and I just can't get enough of this book. Whenever someone asks me, oh, what book should I read, I always tell them City of Saints and Thieves because it is so good. Next we have one that I can't seem to stop talking about, and that is Nemesis by Brandon Reichs. This book just, I don't know what it is about it, because the storyline isn't that different to what you'd normally expect out of a dystopian novel, but there's just something about it that really hooked me. It's about this girl who, she keeps getting killed on her birthday, and then she comes back to life. She's just trying to figure out why this happened, and there's loads of government secrets surrounding this whole kind of situation, and it's really interesting to watch these secrets unravel, and the type of connections that this girl makes and the friendships that arise from the situation. And there is a second book, it's called Genesis, it's coming out next year, and I am really excited for it. But like I said, there's just something about this book that completely hooks me and springs to mind whenever I think of a brilliant novel. So I definitely think more people should be talking about Nemesis by Brandon Reichs. These are the books that I said didn't have hype when they first came out, but are slowly getting there. And that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco and Hunting Prince Dracula by Kerri Maniscalco. Look, if you are regular watchers of my channel, you all know that these books are some of the best books that I have ever read, and I love them so much, and I cannot say enough about these books because they are the most precious things in my entire life. So when they first came out, no one was talking about them, and I was like, why aren't people talking about these books? I've seen a couple more booktubers start to talk about them, but there still isn't enough people reading this book, and I feel like everyone needs to read them because I absolutely love them. So it's set in the like 1800s. It's about this strong female character called Audrey Rose Wadsworth, and she must become a medical expert, and she studies bodies and science, and she dissects bodies, and it's just absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love them. And then she gets caught up in this whole Jack the Ripper scenario, and she has to stalk Jack the Ripper and find out who it is. And then she also does the same in Hunting Prince Dracula. There's a series of murders, and Audrey Rose and her brilliant right hand man is Thomas Cresswell, and together they just uncover all of these mysteries, and I think it's absolutely amazing. And we've also been told the name for the third book in the series, which is Escaping from Houdini, and that's going to be absolutely amazing, and it comes out on September 2018, so that is definitely something to look forward to. And then the final one is Godblind by Anna Stephens. This is her debut novel, and it's like a watered down version of Game of Thrones. So it has the same aspects of Game of Thrones. You've got the family rivals, you've got war, you've got secrets, romance, and I just think it's really, really good. I actually went to the book launch of Godblind in Birmingham, and it was just brilliant to meet Anna Stephens and talk to her about the book. It's just really interesting. You've got the good gods, you've got the bad gods, and the bad gods are trying to take over the entire world basically, and it's just a really, really good journey. It's told from multiple perspectives, and all of the perspectives I really liked. The first time I read this I couldn't quite get into it, but then I tried it this second time round and it was so much better, and I flew through it. I absolutely loved it, and it's one that I definitely recommend. It's a high fantasy. It's like I think it's called grim dark fantasy, I think, or something like that, or something along those lines. And it's just, it says on the back, bathed in blood, ruled by anger, banished thousands of years ago, the time has come for the veil between worlds to be broken and for the red gods to unleash their fury. So there we have it. Those are the 11 books that I think need more hype. I read all of these books this year. I have reviews for all of them, so I will link those in the description box below. Everything that you would want in a book is in these, and I feel like there needs to be more hype surrounding them. So go out and buy them, read them, review them. That is Bookmas Day 11 for you. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you've got any comments, questions, feedback, what books do you think need more hype, let me know in the comments box below. And because it is Bookmas Day 11, I have been posting videos every single day from the 13th of December up until now, and tomorrow will be the last day of Bookmas, so on Christmas Eve, so there will be a video going up at 7 PM UK time. This has gone very, very quick. It's been very stressful doing Bookmas because it's a video a day and that's a lot of editing, but it's been fun. That is it for this video, and I will see you tomorrow for Bookmas Day 12.